Jean Chrétien, whose full name is Joseph Jacques Jean Chrétien, was born in January 1934 and is currently therefore 84 years old. He's a retired Canadian politician, a longtime Liberal, who was known for his twisted mouth because of the facial paralysis, and also for his thickly accented broken English. He served as the Canadian Prime Minister, the 20th Canadian Prime Minister, from November 1993 until his retirement in December 2003. During that time, Canada moved from a heavy budget deficit to a budget surplus that would last until 2007. He was strongly opposed to the Quebec sovereignty movement, and in the October 1995 Quebec referendum on giving its separatist government a mandate to negotiate the terms of separation with the Canadian federal government, a very tiny majority of the participating Quebec voters, officially only 50.5%, voted against giving that mandate. The Quebec Premier or Provincial Prime Minister Jacques Parizeau blamed the narrow defeat on money and the ethnic votes, and then promptly announced his resignation because of the outcries of racism and ethnocentrism. He pioneered the Clarity Act, Chrétien did, to avoid ambiguity in future referendum questions. He also advanced the Youth Criminal Justice Act in Parliament. He became subject to various political controversies in the later years of his prime ministership. Despite his overall popularity, he was accused of inappropriate behavior in the sponsorship scandal, although he has consistently denied any wrongdoing. In retrospective polling, he ranks highly among scholars and the public. He was educated at the Université Laval. And then majoring in law. He later made light of his humble origins, calling himself Le Petit Gars de Shawinigan, or the little guy from Shawinigan. In addition to his facial paralysis on the left side, he is also deaf in one ear. In September 1957, he married Aline Chenet. They have one son, another adopted son, and one daughter. He practiced law at the Shawinigan firm of Alexandre Gélinas and Joe Lafon until being elected to the House of Commons in 1963. In 1986, he voluntarily retired, but then returned in a by-election in Beausejour, New Brunswick, in 1990, and then since then moved back to Quebec. He held various ministerial portfolios. Starting from the Revenue Minister, Minister of National Revenue, and then Minister of Indian Affairs and Northern Development. Then he was President of the Treasury Board, then Minister of Industry, Trade and Commerce. Then in 1977, he became the first Francophone Canadian Finance Minister, and remains one of only 3 Francophones to have held that post. From 1980 to 1984, he served as Minister of Justice and Energy Minister. And he was instrumental in getting 9 of the 10 provincial premiers to agree to that draft constitution in 1981. He came second in the 1984 Liberal leadership election after John Turner. He won the Liberal leadership in 1990 to succeed Turner.